I've been playing Alliance War for a long time, and first it seemed like we had this thing called piloting, and collusion was happening as well. Then the collusion started to become a big thing, and now I feel like the next frontier, after Kabam has sort of cracked down on the piloting, they've cracked down on collusion. I think the next frontier are shell alliances. So just to give a quick background, piloting is where one person controls the account of another person, sometimes the account of all 30 people. That person could be a ninja at fighting, and they end up taking all the fights in an alliance war. Collusion is where the leadership of two alliances will work together in order to arrange favorable matchups or even easier wars. What is a shell alliance? I'm going to try and address that with this video. A shell alliance is actually extremely accurately named. It is a temporary home for 30 members to hide out in. As they grow stronger, they gain war rating, and then later on they will actually abandon that shell and find a different shell. Usually it's a system of two shells, and then they can, and in this way they can get more rewards. The shell is an alliance. Anybody in this game can make an alliance. You can spend, I think it's 100 units and just create a new alliance. So I just want to say right off the bat that I'm actually pretty sure that this doesn't break any terms and conditions. I think these people are operating within the system that's set up by Kabam. So if anything's to be done about this, it's either going to have to be done by the community or by Kabam. And to be honest, it doesn't bother me that much, but the extent that I've seen it happening right now is actually so much that it kind of just grabbed my attention a little bit. Something's definitely going on here. This is obviously the best way to play Alliance Wars if you're looking for the most rewards, and you're also looking for as many favorable matchups as possible. So they don't need any collusion, they don't need to pilot, they don't need to hack in order to do this. I'm going to explain how it works right now. So basically you have 30 members, they exist in an alliance, they're working their way up the ladder, they're fighting harder and harder opponents, and they're building up their war rating. Slowly, eventually Kabam catches up to them and starts giving them the hardest opponents that they can no longer steamroll over. That's when it's time to jump ship. Once you are playing against alliances that are equal to you, then you are no longer taking advantage of the system in the best possible way. So with a shorter war season as we have now, it actually does, I think, help the shell alliances. I do like those shorter war seasons, but what happens is right at the end of the season, you have a secondary alliance with a lower war rating, and you will jump to that. Now, it's ideal to keep that war rating right in probably a tier below what you are capable of participating in. So say you are capable of participating in tier 1, maybe it's time to have a shell with really kind of on the high end of tier 2, and then you can enter the next season with a bunch of wins and get some tier 1 wins, and then that'll set you really nice for the season rank awards. Meanwhile, you have either alternate accounts, or you leave some other alternates in the alliance and you still do the matchmaking for the war, and that alliance continues to lose alliance wars. Even in the season they can lose alliance wars, and then the war rating will actually go down. They're prepping the shell for the next round. So that's basically how it works. You have these two alliances that alternate in war ratings slowly. Here we go. Oh my god, here we go. So we've got the high alliance and then the low alliance, and they sort of switch between seasons, and that's why you see 30 people just jump ship, and an alliance will get filled with just a couple members. Now, I always thought it was just one or two groups doing this, but then I scrolled through the leaderboard of alliances and looked at just the top 50 alliances, and I was so surprised to see that a full 20 alliances are almost empty at the moment. Now, some of these alliances may have had some trouble, they may have disbanded. I am really sorry about that, but this is public information, and this is all in the global leaderboard. And look at these alliances: 17 members, 1 member. That 17 members is probably actually recruiting issues. 1 member, 5 members, 2 members, 19, 2, 1, 12, 2, 4, 5, 1, 18, 18, 2, 3, 1, 1, 1, and 8. It's just crazy. And I know for a fact that we faced a few of these alliances last season. No matter how strictly Kabam tries to make a competitive atmosphere, somebody's always pushing the envelope. Now, that's just the nature of making your own game. You know, these guys, there's always going to be some people trying to push it just a little bit farther. I don't know exactly the best way to solve this. I don't even know if it's actually a problem. I mean, it's sort of annoying, but at the end of the day, you're still facing the same group of 30 people. These people aren't cheating in any way, as in they're not piloting, they're not colluding. Maybe all they're doing is saying, guys, our war rating's getting too high. We got to get out of here. And if you forced me to come up with a solution today, I have one idea that would do it. I would individualize war rating like prestige is individualized and take the average for the alliance. So that kind of right now the shell alliances, they are kind of like a crustacean in their shell. They're all huddled inside the shell, and they're very safe, and individualizing the war rating would kind of yank that slimy crustacean out of the shell and force them to live in the open elements. It would force them to grow their own shell, their own personal shell, and they won't be able to take shelter inside the shell alliances. So every single member would have an individual war rating, and that would be based on the wars that they've participated in. I'm sure that once we move to that, there'd be a new sort of way to take advantage of the system, but you can only put out one fire at a time. You have to focus on the fire at hand, and I think that this is the next fire at hand, because Kabam has done a good job so far of cracking down on the piloting, of cracking down on the collusion. The most recent update to Alliance War matchmaking pretty much eliminates collusion, and they're slowly working to a more competitive atmosphere. Now, they do have their own issues they have to solve on matchmaking still. I think even just days after the patch, we saw mismatches galore, but at least they're moving in the right direction on those fronts. That's basically it. I wanted to summarize and kind of give some background on this issue, because when I first heard about it, it did not make any sense to me. I did not understand how this was beneficial, and it took a little while. It took a couple people explaining it to me for me to actually understand that, oh yes, this is a way to sort of manipulate the system. I'd like to get some feedback. What do you guys think is a good solution for this? If you are one of the people who participate in shell alliances, why is it okay? Maybe defend the action a little bit. I'm all ears. My gut instinct tells me that it's a little bit shady. So that's where I'm standing right now, but I'm always open to change my mind if there's a good reason to. So anyway, I'm gonna leave it there, guys. Thank you for watching, and good luck in season